The biblical narrative not only introduces the concept of hell but also presents a solution to it through Jesus Christ. This underscores God's immense mercy and love extended to all of humanity. Jesus is the key to escaping the darkness that hell represents, as he proclaimed, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." John chapter 14 verse 6. This profound statement places Jesus at the center of humanity's hope as the bridge and solution to the problem of sin. Acts chapter 4 verse 12 further emphasizes this by stating that salvation is found in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given to mankind by which we must be saved. The Bible consistently points to Jesus as the singular solution to the problem of sin and the resulting separation from God that leads to hell. It also speaks of a final judgment where everyone will stand before God, and those who have rejected God's grace through Jesus Christ will face eternal separation from God in hell. In simple terms, hell was initially created as a place of punishment for the devil and his angels. However, due to humanity's sin and rejection of God, it also becomes a destination for those who refuse God's gift of salvation. Nonetheless, God's desire is for all to come to repentance and know Him personally. The existence of hell underscores the reality of justice. If there were no hell, where would justice be for evil deeds? However, the existence of salvation highlights the depth of God's mercy and love. Instead of leaving humanity to face the consequences of their choices, God provided a way out through Jesus Christ. Romans chapter 5 verse 8 eloquently states, "But God demonstrates His own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." Salvation is not an abstract concept but a genuine offer from a loving God. To understand the biblical view of hell, we must explore both Old and New Testament references. In the Old Testament, the realm of the dead, known as Sheol, is described as a shadowy, silent place where the righteous and the wicked go upon death. It is not necessarily a place of punishment or reward but rather a general realm of the deceased. In the New Testament, various terms and concepts are introduced to provide a more nuanced view of the afterlife and the fate of the unrighteous. Gehenna, a metaphor for the final destination of the wicked, is used by Jesus to describe the consequences of sin. Additionally, the lake of fire in the book of Revelation symbolizes the final judgment where Satan, his followers, and those whose names are not found in the book of life will be cast. One of the most profound aspects of hell is the idea of eternal separation from God, who is the source of all goodness and life. This separation is depicted in verses like Matthew chapter 25 verse 41, where Jesus speaks of those being cast into eternal fire, prepared for the devil and his angels. The biblical portrayal of hell has evolved from the shadowy realm of Sheol in the Old Testament to more vivid depictions of judgment and eternal separation in the New Testament. These scriptures prompt deep reflection on life, death, and the consequences of our actions and beliefs. The Bible suggests that hell is, in a sense, self-chosen due to God's respect for human free will. While people may not actively choose hell, their actions, priorities, and decisions can lead them to a life apart from God's presence, love, and grace. John chapter 3 verse 19 highlights that people sometimes choose darkness over light because their deeds are evil. God's respect for human free will is profound, as depicted in Revelation chapter 3 verse 20, where God stands at the door of our hearts and waits for us to open it. He doesn't force His way in but respects our choice. God's nature encompasses both love and justice. John chapter 3 verse 16 and Romans chapter 5 verse 8 emphasize the depth of God's love, as He sacrificed His Son for our redemption. However, Psalm chapter 89 verse 14 and Romans chapter 2 verse 5-6 remind us that righteousness and justice are also foundational to God's character. God's holiness is unparalleled, and sin cannot exist in His presence. 1 Peter chapter 1 verse 16 calls us to be holy because God is holy. While God is just and holy, His ultimate desire is for all to come to repentance and be saved. 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 4 and 2 Peter chapter 3 verse 9 emphasize God's patience and desire for all to turn away from their sins. The biblical narrative presents both the concept of hell and the solution to it through Jesus Christ. It underscores the depth of God's love and justice, His holiness, and His desire for all to be saved. The concept of hell has evolved throughout the Bible, prompting reflection on the consequences of our choices and beliefs. God respects human free will and offers the opportunity for salvation, but ultimately, our eternal fate is sealed upon death. The biblical narrative concerning heaven and hell teaches us that these are indeed real, literal places, and our eternal fate is sealed upon death. There are no second chances once we pass away. Believers are immediately welcomed into the joyous fellowship of heaven, while unbelievers are cast into the torment of hell. The story of the rich man and Lazarus serves as a vivid illustration of this truth, highlighting the recollection of missed opportunities and rejection of the gospel for those in hell. Understanding that there is no purgatory or middle ground that can expedite one's journey to heaven is crucial. Heaven and hell are the ultimate destinations determined by one's faith and relationship with God. It is essential for us to be grateful for having our names written in the book of life through our faith in Jesus Christ. This act of grace has made us children of God, and it should motivate us to grow in love for God and others. We should guard against allowing our possessions or distractions to become idols in our lives that separate us from God's plans. As we navigate life, let us remember that our choices, actions, and priorities play a significant role in shaping our eternal destiny. God respects our free will, and even though He stands at the door of our hearts, He will not force His way in. It is our choice to open that door and invite Him into our lives. The character of God is a complex interplay of love, justice, and holiness. His love is unconditional and demonstrated through the sacrifice of His Son. Yet, He is also just, ensuring that righteousness is upheld and that each person is held accountable for their actions. His holiness is unmatched, and it is because of this holiness that sin cannot exist in His presence. God's desire for all to be saved is a testament to His patience and unwavering love. He does not want anyone to perish but desires that everyone comes to repentance and finds salvation. Our Creator extends His hand of grace and salvation to each one of us, and it is our response to this invitation that ultimately determines our eternal fate. In conclusion, the biblical narrative regarding heaven, hell, and God's nature provides profound insights into the human condition, the consequences of our choices, and the boundless love of our Creator. It encourages us to live with gratitude, make wise choices, and seek a closer relationship with God through His Son, Jesus Christ, to secure our place in the eternal fellowship of heaven.